what's going on right now in the Middle East. The war is happening. Last night
Back on.
on
Back
Iranian
on.
tonight again on Iranian soil. The same area, by the way, is the Syriac area. And right now, from the latest news, it shows that the Tahroui village in the telecommunications towers were attacked, were hit by the American airstrike. And we had it last night. We had it right now. We're having it, and CENTCOM just mentioned that this is a response to what Iran did today, attacking one of these commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz. And I talked with Morandi today about last night. He said 2 radars were hit. Those 2 radars were not that much significant somehow.
Right.
Iran
I mean, let's just, last night's attacks were what I call military political theater. Nothing strategic was hit by either side. It was sort of the United States going through a routine to show the American people, see how tough we're being. But in reality, it was a nothing burger, which is, I think, why Iran didn't really retaliate hard after that. So, I mean, it was initially pumped up, in the United States, all the press, major strike, oh my God, we're kicking their ass kind of stuff. And then, when I dug into it later, it was like, it wasn't even clear they hit anything. So if they did hit something, it wasn't of any consequence. But today it looks like it's different. So the United States had a chance to step back and just ignore it, and tell these ships, hey, the Iran has its rules, follow the damn rules, and there won't be any problem. Instead, this one ship apparently wanted to say, screw you, we're not going to follow the rules. And Iran said, okay, here's a drone, have a nice day.
Yeah. One of the U.S. officials just told Fox News that the strikes on Iran are larger than last night. And right now just reported 2 new strikes took place on Qeshm Island. Mm-hmm. And last night we had some reports about Qeshm Island, but later on we've learned that nothing was hit in the Qeshm Island last night. But tonight it seems that they hit some targets in the Qeshm Island.
Well, the U.S. is not responding because of the ship. It's responding because of what Iran did on Bahrain. I'm told that they really hit Bahrain, the former Fifth Fleet headquarters, real hard. That's why I think that's why the U.S. is reacting. And, I anticipate Iran's going to react to that reaction. And so this is going to escalate. If the information I've received from my new friend in the energy business is accurate, then if Iran may be inciting this a little bit in order to draw the United States in, force it to use more civil aviation fuel, because that's going to create a shortage, and the United States is going to run short. They won't cause the military to be sacrificed, to go short. So they'll sacrifice civilian aviation, which is then going to have negative effect on the economy. And, so Iran gets to do damage to the U.S. economy in an indirect way.
The communication line that J.D. Vance was talking about, there is no communication, Larry. There is no direct communication that they call it a hotline of communications between Iran and the United States. That doesn't exist. It was confirmed by IRGC. That's why you see these sort of attacks happening, and tit for tat, something like that. Do you see this possibility of escalation in the region?
No, I think it's going to escalate. So we'll see where it goes by Monday.
Yeah. Who's giving them the basis for, to attack Iran? Are these fighter jets coming from Jordan, coming from Israel, coming from, I don't know,
I think they're probably coming out of not Al Udeid, out of Jordan would be my guess. Possibly Saudi Arabia, but I doubt that. It could be United Arab Emirates. I don't know. Iran's going to know, and we'll know by Iran's reaction where they came from.
My understanding today, Larry, there's some reports coming from Iran. They're not in the mainstream media and alternative media, because since the war is happening, since they hit 2 ships today in the Strait of Hormuz, they were preparing. IRGC was preparing for the attacks, and they were moving the weapons around. And some estimation said Iran may respond to the last night's attack. And right now we have a new attack on Iranian soil. I think they're going to attack, and it's going to be the attack going to be on Kuwait, Bahrain, and Jordan. I don't see Iran attacking UAE.
Yeah, they already responded and hit Bahrain today, sometime earlier today. So yeah, they're not. That's not going to be new. They've already hit Jordan.
The people are not satisfied.
They've already hit Bahrain. I mean.
Yeah, Bahrain was reported on Associated Press. They reported that some targets in Bahrain were hit by Iranian drones. And I think my understanding is tonight is they're going to attack Jordan together with Kuwait as well. Because this is, with the case of UAE, I'm not sure about UAE. It seems that there is a new line of communications between Iran and UAE. Because they had it before.
Yeah, but again, all I'm saying is it depends on where the planes were launched from. If they're launched from the UAE, then you're going to see Iran hit the UAE.
The whole, I think it's the outcome of of Marco Rubio's visit to the West, to Middle East. He came and he tried to manipulate the region. And he put pressure on Omani government. And Omani, you saw that report on the part of the Omani government. They say, oh, maybe they can pass through the Strait of Hormuz without having any sort of difficulties. And they were trying to use it. Today, 2 of the tankers were forced by IRGC to use the designated routes and not using.
Do you know who was telling them it was okay to travel that route, right?
I don't know, because it was nobody knows who was that.
The United Kingdom Maritime Transportation, or whatever UKMTO stands for. They're the ones that say, yeah, you can travel this route. So this is the Brits trying to further incite this thing.
Yeah. The problem, Larry, is they're not respecting MOU. Part of the MOU was the Strait of Hormuz. And it said that during the first 30 days, they have to define a new mechanism for the Strait of Hormuz, which, in fact, Iran and Oman are doing that.
Look, they stopped. The United States has been breaking the MOU almost every day. The insults hurled by Trump, the trip of Marco Rubio to meet with the GCC, and then the condemnation of Iran that came out of that. All of that is in counter to the MOU, and that's why the United States is doing it. Just basically saying, screw you, you can't tell us what to do. Okay, maybe not, but there's a price to be paid for that then, and we're starting to see what that price is.
I don't know if, Larry, the case of Lebanon is complicating the whole thing. What has happened in Lebanon, again, is a total, violation of MOU. And the United States is cooperating on one side, saying signing MOU with Iranians, then bringing the government in Lebanon together with the Israelis to sign an agreement, which is totally different from what was mentioned in the MOU, in the first clause of the MOU.
Correct.
I don't know what is the understanding on the part of Iran. Why do they need to stay in this MOU? And today we had the assembly of experts in Iran enforcing the idea of the statement of the Iranian supreme leader saying that there is no point to stay in this MOU, in this sort of talks with the United States. They're not respecting anything.
Well, did he issue a statement to that effect?
Yeah, the Assembly of Experts. Yeah, they have issued it.
Well, the Assembly of Experts issued that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Iran's
Was it the Ayatollah that issued that?
No, the Ayatollah mentioned his idea about the MOU. He said that I have a totally different idea about the MOU, basically mentioning that he's not that much agreeing with the government, with the Pezeshkian government when it comes to the negotiations with the United States. He had his doubts about that this path is leading nowhere for Iran. And today, the Assembly of Experts is so important, Larry, because these are the guys who decide about the supreme leader of Iran. They have the highest, sort of council in Iran. Even I would say somehow above the National Security Council, because they're literally connected with the supreme leader of Iran, and they have connection.
It's a clerical organization.
Exactly. Okay. And more than, the letter that they have published today, 62 out of 86 members signed that document. 62 out of 86 members. And it says, we urge that considering the experience of the past damaging negotiations, the negotiations will be extremely careful of the tricks of the deceitful and an evil enemy, and pay attention to the fact that observing the leader's red lines is religious obligation, and violating them is not permissible under any circumstances. Basically, they're talking about, it seems that there is a communication between the supreme leader and the government in Iran, which was not published in that statement of the supreme leader. We haven't seen those points. They're talking about those points were mentioned, which we haven't seen. It seems that there is a letter between the two sides about, not, trusting the United States in ongoing negotiations and respecting the red lines. People are on streets, by the way. Today, they came out after this letter, after this, announcement on the part of Assembly of Experts in Iran. People are on street.
Yeah, so, it looks like the MOU is going to break down. Now, I think Iran will be able to continue to do okay. But remember, one of the other countries that's pressing for the MOU and wants to see it implemented is China. Because China, I think China's worried about some of the economic impacts upon its country if this thing continues.
Yeah, you see the flag of Hezbollah in the crowd, and they're just waving the flag of Hezbollah. I think it's the red lines, Larry, so far, to my understanding, on the part of the supreme leader of Iran, one of them is the negotiations with the United States considering the Strait of Hormuz. He said there is no way to back down on the Strait of Hormuz. Even what is the discussions right now in Iran? They're talking about the toll system. They say, why do we need some sort of fee system? Because we're not part of the international waters, that association, that organization. We are not a signatory to that international law and international waters. So why do we need to abide by those laws?
Well, they don't. I mean, you're not a signatory, so that's why Iran doesn't. Neither is the United States. So the United States can't holler that you're breaking a law that the United States doesn't even recognize. I mean, that's absurd.
Their argument is this, Larry, those people who are not agreeing with these negotiations. First of all, the Strait of Hormuz is under total control of Iran, and we're going to decide about the new mechanism. Second, there would be no negotiations on the sanctions because they don't believe that the United States, the government in the United States, would be able to lift the sanctions on Iran. So there is no point to go that far, continuing any sort of negotiation. This is the argument on their part. Is that realistic?
Well, no. Well, look, Iran's got it has to take other countries' interests into account. China's got some major economic interests tied up in the Persian Gulf. So China has been providing Iran with significant support. So, there's got to be some sort of, if you will, quid pro quo from Iran. Iran just sitting and say, yeah, we take your help, but screw you, we're going to do whatever we want. That wouldn't be very smart. I think that'd be stupid. So that has to be taken into account. I think it is fully within Iran's rights to insist that the protocol that they negotiated with Oman be enforced. Now, why Oman violated that protocol regarding the PSAG is beyond me. Well, but here we are. So now it's the situation of Iran enforcing the rules and the United States encouraging ships to break the rules. And then as a result, you get this back and forth. So I think as long as Iran continues to retaliate, every time the United States bombs Iran, the United States hits them back and hits them harder. For the life of me, I don't know why Iran hasn't taken out Ben Gurion Airport with all the KC-135s, 28, 50, and a huge number of aerial refueling aircraft apart there. Why they haven't blown the hell out of that is beyond me.
Yeah, they're still there, by the way, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Larry, the problem right now in Iran, I talked today with Marandi. The government is trying to control the inflation. The inflation is because their basic concern is that, but the other side believes that we don't need right now to take care of inflation. We are in an active war with the United States. So the priority would be putting an end to the war by fighting the United States, not negotiating with the United States. And the region is not prepared for that. I don't see Qatar being prepared, or Saudi Arabia want to be part of this fight that the Trump administration is trying to do. Today, I talked with David Pine. You know that. You know him.
I know David.
David mentioned the United States doesn't need to go that far to attack Iranian soil. They can respond to Iran in a more modest way, in a more, because
I don't know. What does that mean?
It means that if Iran attacks one of these tankers, they don't need to hit, radar systems or something like that on Iranian soil. They may do something else. He didn't mention what does he mean.
Oh yeah, well, okay, I understand.
Instead of attacking Iran on Iranian soil, they have to do something else. Maybe something political. Maybe something, some announcement. Something. We are condemning the Iranian attack on, Singaporean flag tanker that was attacked by Iran, for example. And he says that what the Trump administration is doing literally is dragging the United States into the war again.
Yes, no, that's true. And you understand that if the United States starts, right now they've got an order in place that's ordering the withdrawal of a lot of these aircraft, the F-35s. And just as an aside, there was Air Force testified last week, I believe, before Congress, that the combat readiness of the F-35 aircraft is between 25 and 30%. In other words, more than 2/3 of those aircraft that they've bought and distributed aren't ready to go. And the new aircraft that are being delivered without the radar in the nose cone, and they don't know when those radar will ever be available. So the point of this is Iran very well could just continue to push, force the United States into trying to respond with the F-35s, and in the process end up depleting the U.S. fuel supply and depleting those aircraft. So it could be maybe this is a deliberate strategy by Iran. I can't say it's not.